This week, I met with Cindy Atchison, who is an artist and graphic designer focused on expressing the beauty of nature and our world through stylistic landscape paintings. Cindy was struggling with what route to take marketing her art. She wasn't sure if she wanted gallery representation or more in person sales, or if she wanted to focus on selling through her website. So, what we did was I took her through a dream life meditation to help her find her own answers. And I think she nailed it. So if you've got too many ideas to market your art swirling around and you're not sure where to go next, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. Welcome to Intuitive Art Sales. This is the show where I, Jessica Craddock, am going to teach you how to source your art marketing from within. You're going to practice claiming that authentic art business that you want and leading into the most natural way for you to get there. You're going to learn to get connected to your intuition, your confidence, and your community so that you can sell your art consistently while holding strong boundaries on your work-life balance. Welcome back to Intuitive Art Sales. I am here with an artist named Cindy Atchison, who is actually in the Durango area with me, which makes me really excited that I'm getting more artists in this area on this podcast, because this is my place and I love it. And I really want to be able to feature people who live here along with all the people around the world who I also love, but I have a special love for the people who are right by me. So I'm really glad that you were able to do this with me. Thank you so much, Cindy.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad you are here. So you actually came prepared with some questions, which is not something that people do very often, but it's fun when people do. So I can kind of see what you're thinking about beforehand. I'm going to go back and record a little intro after this, but hearing you, because you did it better than I would, tell us a little bit about what's happening in your world. How are you marketing your art? Where are you spending your time? And where are you looking to grow? Give us a little summary of all that.
You got it. Yeah, well, I've been a graphic designer for about 30 years. And I've always had the heart of an artist, but I haven't done part-time art until about 2 years ago when I got a studio in the Smiley Building art room, which is a lovely studio in the middle of a 3-story sort of community building. And it has a lot of walk-through traffic from an adjacent cafe. It's where I create, it's where I sell work and display work and have an art community that's just really wonderful.
I was just going to say, I got to go visit, and it was just the coolest building. If you're in the Durango area and you don't have an art studio, I don't know if they have space open, but you should go check it out for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, I've actually started in large stylistic landscapes, and I've developed this style with my acrylic paints that is sort of a geometric graphic style, which provides a lovely contrast of hard-edged strokes with the softness of clouds of our environment, of a wonderful memory of being outside. And my goal is to just really connect with others about their love of nature, their love of beauty, and each other through this stylistic embrace of nature.
Very good. Okay, so the main thing that you are doing is setting up in this studio where there's quite a bit of walk-through traffic. And I know you mentioned First Friday art walks, and most of your clients are coming from that space. Did I get that all correct?
Correct. You bet.
And you also mentioned that you are doing a little bit of social media posting here and there, say once a week, once every couple weeks. Is that right? And also a newsletter. So those are the main ways that you're selling right now. And you had asked me, what direction should I go next in order to increase my art sales? Can you elaborate on that question a little bit more for us?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, right now I am posting on Instagram and Facebook about every week or two, and I've got different audiences on each platform. And I also send out a monthly newsletter that features art and design and food, actually, because I've had a blog for the last 12 years as a gluten-free foodie. And it's just a really fun way to share 3 of my passions every month with people who subscribe.
Very cool. But you had also mentioned, I'm curious about gallery representation, maybe working on trying to increase those in-person connections and sales, maybe going through my online website. I'm just not really sure where to go.
Right, I'm curious to see where to focus my energy next and most successfully, because I do have my own sort of informal gallery where I sell out of the art space, and I'd have to
Right.
increase my prices in order to have gallery representation, and I do like having a more affordable art than gallery. But each has its pros and cons, so I'd be curious to see which way you'd recommend directing my energy for my marketing.
Yeah, for sure. So out of curiosity, what is your price range at the moment?
Yeah, my price point for like a 30 by 40 piece right now is 980. And what's been really popular are the diptychs, the 2 large canvases together, and those can go on up to 1600.
Okay. So that's pretty reasonable, but enough that you are making something off of the sales. It's a good kind of in between price range where it's not too much, not too little. Love it. I kind of want to do an exercise with you that I don't know that I've done on this podcast before. And I'm not going to do it exactly like I do inside of my consistent income program because, to be honest, I could not find all of the questions that I have written down for that exercise. So we're going to kind of wing it,
Okay.
which is fun.
Let's do it.
It's one of the exercises that I do, one, to increase your confidence in the way that you are spending your time, but also to use your own tuition to help you understand, if I could dedicate the next 3 or 4 months of my life to making another arm of my business work, where would I want to spend my time? And it's a meditation
Mhm.
called Live Your Dream Life Now. And essentially, I think maybe we can get a little bit of clarity so that you can find the answer to your own question so that I can then guide you through one of the paths.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. So Cindy, I'm going to ask you if it feels better, if it's easier to do, just to close your eyes. And I'm going to do this with you. We're just going to take a quick second to count backwards from 10 to 1 and just get a little bit more relaxed and we get in our body. That's where I feel like the real answers can be felt. So I'm just going to count backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3. If it's easier, just leave your eyes closed for a minute.
Okay.
We're going to pretend life is perfect. Well, 6 a.m. Let's go later. 8 a.m. You just woke up and your house is quiet. There's nobody in it. You've got time all to yourself and you've got 3 hours. What's the first thing you're going to wake up and go do?
Well, my husband probably would have left a cup of coffee for me before he went to work. So I have my warm cup of coffee in my bedside stand. And that's just a warm hug, even if he's not there. I head downstairs and we have these great picture windows that look out on a park across the street. And there's always people and dogs and strollers and joggers and bikers on the river trail across the street from our house.
I love that spot.
And so I usually like to go on a walk before I eat breakfast. And we just live in this beautiful area of Durango. And so I actually love to go for morning walks. Or after I have a great breakfast, I can hop on my bike and ride down the river trail to my art studio, which is really lovely in the sense that it's one of those places that I don't have to go to. I get to go to. I want to. The Smiley Building is just this wonderful, warm, inviting place. and my studio lives large, albeit small. It's only about 9 by 10, but it's got everything ready for me to just start creating. It's all set out. And I love just creating large canvases that express an emotion in a journey and a local scene from some place that meant so much to me that I want to capture it on canvas. And so it's just a joy to create.
Okay. So let's back up for just a second. On this walk, when you've got this warm cup of coffee, you're walking down the river, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? What's happening in your brain?
I'm a planner. Even when I try to relax, I think about do the next hour, the next day, the next month. And there's so many good things to do in life. I love my graphic design work. I love my artwork. I love cooking with my husband and entertaining. My kids are in college, so I love to hear what's going on with their world and touch base. And it's always good to think about what sort of self-care you're going to do. Exercise or cross-country skiing or biking or downhill skiing or whatnot.
So then how does all that make you feel? What feelings come up while you are walking, biking, working at the river, in your head planning, going to your studio, painting local scenes?
I am just so blessed and fortunate to be here. I live in a beautiful place and I've got good relationships with my family, and I just wish everybody could have this sort of environment. So I do love to share that.
Let's pretend for a second. We haven't gotten dressed yet. What's your favorite outfit to wear? Something that makes you feel like your best self, your most expressive, your most creative, whatever that is for you. What kind of outfit are you going to put on?
It's a mix of practicality and, and expressiveness. I love wearing vests. Well, we're in the wintertime now, so that's what I'm thinking. Where the collar is high and it unzips and it's open, and I like to wear a colorful shirt underneath. And favorite pair of jeans.
Okay. So now you're dressed as your best self, gotten to your office, and you're living your best day. Remember, this is the best day you have ever had. What are the 3 things that you want to do besides paint and go for that walk?
Mm, Man, I got to order a dirty chai over at Smiley Cafe because a chai
Okay.
with a shot of espresso and some almond milk is just a rockin' way to start the day.
I don't think I've ever had one of those. I'm going to get
Oh,
one.
it's so good. You got to go there. So besides work, what am I doing or thinking about, you said?
It doesn't have to be besides work. Just what do you want to do with your day?
I want to connect with people in the Smiley building while I'm there. There are always a couple artists in there. I've got some friends who work in Smiley building, and I look forward to connecting with people and meeting them, just interacting with my community a bit.
Mhm.
And if it's a perfect day, I'm going to have lunch with my husband downtown.
Great. Because you're a foodie.
Yes. And we have so many good restaurants here.
So you've done a great job. You spent the morning on yourself. You crammed your day. You have had an excellent coffee ×2. You're connecting with the people in the Smiley building. You're painting. You're going out and having lunch with your husband. Now let's say, I don't know, we can pretend it's the next day or after lunch, whatever you want to do. You still have 3 more hours and you have no one to answer to. Actually, let's change the question. You have an appointment. It's the appointment that you are so excited about and you've been looking forward to it forever. What is it?
Oh, it just popped into my head. I'm meeting friends at Durango Hot Springs.
Oh, yes.
Since it's an ideal day.
Okay. Next day, we get to have one more perfect day. And you are spending the day promoting your art. You get to do that in whatever way you want to do. And you will have a 1000% success rate. What are you doing?
Hmm. Well, I love doing this monthly newsletter. I usually
Okay.
choose a theme, a word, if you will, and write a little intro paragraph about what my thoughts on that word is, whether it's gratitude or renew or ablaze. And then I tie in that theme to a piece of art that I've done recently or not, and a graphic design project, as
Okay.
well as a great recipe. And as I'm writing that, I hope I connect with people. I hope people appreciate what I'm writing. And I sort of, think about the people that that's being sent to. And I get warm, fuzzy feelings, hoping that they feel a sense of joy or connection from that.
Okay. You've been doing that for so long now that only took the morning. We still have the whole afternoon. What else?
Am I still marketing?
Yep.
Okay.
It's Sell Art Day.
Oh, it's Sell Art Day. So I am going to go through my artwork and post on Instagram. And
This perfect day posting.
on this perfect day, yes. So I'll post on
Okay.
Instagram. And I think it'd be fun to show some process images because I don't feel like I do the process enough of, sketching, composition, color studies, and then the art. I think people really enjoy the process and feel like art is much more attainable if they see somebody else do process.
Okay. All right. We're done. You can open your eyes.
There.
Welcome back. Your questions were, do I want gallery representation? Do I want to sell more in person? Or do I want to go focus more on my online website? Your perfect days included being with people, connecting, writing content, painting. So what do you think your answer is?
This was a good exercise. I think connecting with people through the writing and choosing them artwork and trying to make that connection through process, perhaps.
So a combination, which is the combination I recommend over and over, of content with relationships, selling your art that way.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily an in-person versus website question. It's how do I do it together in a way that they work as one? And
Hmm.
the gallery representation kind of falls off the table.
Okay.
It sounds like that was really oversimplified. Sure. But then when we're thinking about like, where am I spending my time? One of the ways that I recommend connecting with people, nurturing in order to make them feel that connection to your art. If it's not just a instant, I see it, I want it, etc., is hosting invitation. What I mean by that is how can we very purposefully create more containers to have more connections with the people around us? You mentioned that food and being outside are two of your favorite things to do.
Hmm.
Perhaps, I'm just going to throw out some stuff here. Perhaps you add in a monthly invitation to dinner at your house where your artwork is hung up all over your walls. Is it hung up all over your walls?
It is not at home.
Okay. So maybe it's a monthly picnic in your art studio. Maybe it's a plein air painting by the Riverwalk once a month. Maybe it in your content, we are being very purposeful about inviting people to one-on-one studio visit.
Hmm.
So just thinking about, okay, here's all the things that make me happy. How can I turn that into an invitation where I can be keeping my eyes out for people who I connect with, for people who have shown interest in my work in the past, for people or places or local businesses that I would like to collaborate with in the future, that I have something to invite these people to.
Mhm.
So it's not just sign up for my newsletter, which is great. Yes, let's get them to sign up for your newsletter. But also, how do I make a stronger bond more quickly? I'm going to insert myself here real quick and mention Cindy is someone who is naturally pretty good at connecting with people and building those relationships in a way that makes people more inclined to buy her art, to be perfectly frank. Maybe that's something that you are good at as well, but you'd like to get better, have more of a systemized process to do so. Or maybe you're someone who really identifies with kind of stinking it up. Either way, relationships are half of the equation in being able to sell your art more quickly. And if this is something you're interested in learning about, I wanted you to know that the Money Now for Artists Bootcamp is coming up April 1st through April 30th. Registration closes on the 28th of March. And this lean, mean program is made to get you ready to start selling your art in the very fastest way possible. We'll have 4 live workshops where you'll learn the 3 steps to be ready to sell your art. And then you will learn these steps exactly with examples to take to build relationships and create content to find more people who are interested in your art and get those sales rolling in. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's going to be an experience like you've never had. We'll just leave it at that for now. Go check it out. What I like to do is think about it in terms of month rotations. Hope you've heard me say that. I like to focus on visibility one month and then nurturing the next month and then selling the next month. So if we're thinking about it like that, how can I get more people to know that I make art in visibility month? We've already got Durango First Friday. That's something that we've already established.
Mhm.
But what else could we add in? Could it be during First Fridays from now on, we're really keeping track of people that we have those conversations with and then inviting them to our quarterly to the Atchison open studio visit and saying, please bring a friend. I will have XYZ. We'll talk about art. What are some of the things you like to talk about?
Well, I love the idea of having a little thing. You could have a theme each first Friday where you bring something that's shared on your newsletter. And
And you also used your word.
Mhm.
Every newsletter, you have a specific word. So
Yeah,
it could be, we're going to have a discussion about this. I'm going to feature this food that I had in my newsletter, and it's going to be lots of fun. Bring a friend or two.
excellent. Well, and I always pose a question in my newsletter that has to do with the word. And so maybe I can actually take that question and
Exactly.
people about that.
Yeah. So you're taking your content and you're bringing it into your relationships. So they're not working. I only am getting people to my website through my content, or I only am showing people my artwork when they stop by my studio. So
Mhm.
we're trying to intermingle the two. It could be that every month you do that same thing. So the visibility month, bring a friend. The nurture month, that we're going to have an extra half hour where we can do an activity together, or, something where you could just spend a little bit more time together. And maybe the sales month, that you've got some sort of extra if they buy a piece while they're in your studio that month. They get a print with it, or they get a discount, or they get something to entice them to come, so that you can say, I'm selling things without feeling weird about saying I'm selling things. And that's not a requirement. It's just a little bonus.
Yeah. I sell greeting cards and notepads of my work. And so people could choose
Perfect.
one of those.
Yeah. So then the other element to this is, we have our website online.
do I need to spend the time to update it, turn it into a shop, all of that? You can, is the answer. But with the answers you gave me, I'm not going to say it's a necessary thing that you need to invest your time in. Because still the majority of the people in your world are in Durango.
Right. They're all local sales, and occasionally somebody will be on vacation and purchase a piece, and I'll wrap it up nicely for them. But it's a lot of local sales.
So really what we're doing is we're just building on what we're already doing. How can I increase what's already working to make it work more?
Perfect.
We're not adding a ton. And you can add as much as you want. You can make weekly invitations if you want. But I will say that in the nurture month, one of my favorite things to do is really focus on one-on-one studio visits, whether that's in person or virtual. But in your case, it sounds like it would be in person. How would you feel about that?
I think that's a great idea because usually at these Durango First Friday art crawl events, we have a featured artist and we all rotate. But that's only for a half an hour or so from 5:30 to 6. And otherwise, we're technically there from 4 to 7. And so I could make, the picnic time or whatnot be at some other time or the whole time. So
Or a different Friday, or not even a different Friday. Maybe you're normally there from Monday and Tuesday from 11 to 2. I don't know, I'm making this up, but you could create a calendar where you can say, I have this time and this time open. Would you like to stop by the studio sometime? And we can just go get a coffee at the coffee shop and see if there's any questions you have, or we could talk about my process. Or if you don't even have any questions, I can just sit there and paint and you can hang out with me for a little bit.
I think that'd be fun to have connection time. Because I don't have regular office hours, which is not to my benefit because oftentimes life will get in the way or I'll have this fabulous graphic design project and that pushes into the afternoon and I end up not going to the studio. And so I'd like to have regular hours to hold myself accountable to be there.
And if you had appointments to be there, then you would be there. Another thing that you could do if we're thinking about intermixing our marketing plan is whether or not you have an appointment. Let's say we try to have an appointment every Friday at 12. Well, this week we didn't have one because it just didn't work out. I can do it virtually. I can go live on Instagram or Facebook or both and have little studio time and just leave your phone on while you're painting and talk to it every once in a while. See if we'll have any questions they want to talk about. You could use this kind of format of, I have this word that I've been thinking about as I'm painting. I'm just kind of chit-chatting with the people who want to come in and sit with me.
No fun. That'd be a great idea. Kind of an open studio time.
Yes. So we're starting to bring it a little bit more online as well, but also having those personal connections. So then the last thing you said was, I want to post on Instagram or Facebook more.
I think that'd be a good idea because I don't do it very often and I tend to get some great feedback, and I have received some sales from people who have seen it on Facebook and Instagram or my newsletter and then come in to talk about it. So yes, I'd like to post on Facebook more, and I'd like to find a way to authentically invite people to subscribe to my newsletter.
Okay. So what if the week before you send it, or the day before, or whatever, you say, I'm talking about this. Here's a little, if you've written it yet, here's a little snippet. If you want to read the rest, I'd love to have you on my newsletter. Send me your email address or sign up here or comment a word and I'll message you and get you signed up. I'll make sure you get it.
Good idea.
Instead of just saying, sign up for my newsletter. Why? Why do they want to sign up for your newsletter in the first place?
Have some sort of a question or teaser to engage people so they want to sign up out of curiosity.
What do you do now to get people to sign up for your newsletter besides having a sign up sheet in your studio?
I have a sign-up sheet in my studio, and that's all. If we have an engaging conversation, I always
Good.
ask them if they'd like to sign up for either my newsletter or the Art Room Collective monthly newsletter, because there is one for the
Mhm.
group that we send out as well.
I love that because you're being supportive of your community, but I want you to prioritize yours.
I sometimes prioritize all my other things and leave my own
Right.
self-care to last priority, which is a resolution to switch around.
I think we can all relate. So, in terms of Instagram, Facebook, and I'm saying both because you said both. If there's one that's more important to you versus the other, is there?
Well, it's interesting. Instagram is my business social media, where I don't have a
Uh-huh.
lot of personal posts on Instagram. It is only for my artwork. And then on Facebook, I have a personal account where all the family photos are, and I get a lot of feeds from everybody else's personal things. And I do post on there when I have a new piece of artwork. I do have a business Facebook account, and I just post on there whatever I post on Instagram.
Where have the sales come from? Do you know?
One sale came from Instagram.
Okay. What about Facebook?
No, I get a lot of personal input from people I know in town personally on Facebook.
Well,
And so, yeah, it's really hard to know where some of the sales come from, but really most come by the studio. See the artwork at an event, and then,
yeah, but
take
they might have found you from Facebook, is what you're telling me.
yeah, it's kinda hard to know because you
Okay.
don't always know where people see your information or what they Google.
Yeah. So why don't we try this? Why don't we try for the next 3 months? And I know that you can cross post and it goes from one to the other, but I want you to make one the primary. And I feel a little bit torn on which one is serving you more, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. Even though you made a sale through Instagram, you've got people in your community seeing your stuff on Facebook.
Right, I get more comments on Facebook.
Which one's easier for you to post on? Let's go with that.
Probably Facebook.
Okay. We're going to start with Facebook, and you can push them to Instagram if you want. But I want you to make Facebook for the next couple of months your primary posting platform, the place where if you go live, you do it on there, the place where you invite people to your newsletter, the place where you're posting your new work, place where you're saying, hey, I've got this thing. Does anybody want to come? The place where you're saying, I went skiing today, and here's why. It made me feel amazing. That combination of things, it feels like would be more natural for you to do automatically on Facebook. And yeah,
Right, because it is a more personal platform for me where I post the
right.
great ski photos or the hike photos and, a photo of people that I know.
We're thinking about sharing our newsletter, our invitations, really finding this is where content gets special, is finding the people that you're making the connections with through your content and then making personal invitations to those people. So yes, saying, come to my thing. But if you notice that someone liked it or mentioned it to you offhand at some other event that you see them at or ask for more information, you're going to make sure, hey, I'd really love it if you came because XYZ.
Yeah.
I could wrote, like, for example, when I came to your group,
Mhm.
I told everyone there, hey, if you want to be on my podcast, hit me up. That was a group invitation. But then when we were emailing and I was like, yes, be on my podcast, you're going to be more inclined to do
Right.
it then versus me just saying, hey, everybody. So that's the difference. We're looking for the people who like, and then saying, you come. I want you to be there. That applies for your Instagram, your Facebook, your newsletter, people who are signing up as they're walking through. We're looking for the interest so we can make those personal invitations.
Like there's this one gal who bought a painting, and her daughter went to the same school as the school my kids went to, 3rd to 5th grade. And so we have that connection. And I know her daughter's an artist, and it might be fun to invite her to just paint with me for some of that open studio time.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We said a lot of things. So I want to make sure that you have I can walk away knowing that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z differently than I was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
You give me that back.
Absolutely. I am going to do one time a month, a group thing, an invite, probably at First Friday. And I'm going to invite people to share in a foodie picnic of some kind with the food that I feature on my monthly newsletter. And I'll send personal invites to that. And I'll also post more than one times a week on social media regarding a newsletter, regarding an invitation, a personal invitation to join in for art open studio time, whatever that looks like. And for 3 months, I'm going to have Facebook as my primary posting site, where I post invites, perhaps live video, which scares the heck out of me. I'll have to learn about that.
I know. Here's the thing. Most people aren't going to show up. You get to practice being live. And the people who do, it's probably just going to be a couple of them. You get a deeper conversation with those because those are the couple of people who really wanted to be there. And when you do it on a regular basis, it will grow, but it'll start off with not very many people coming, but you're painting anyway. So why not turn the camera on?
Right. Okay. Well, and I liked your comment about making connections and how you sell as much as the art does, because people like the story. People like the backstory behind the artwork as much as the art itself.
Yeah. So I'm going to add one more thing and then we're going to wrap up. You said I'm going to post about my newsletter, my invitation, all the things. Those posts don't have to be about my newsletter or about my thing. They can be about, I forget what your words were. I'm going to make one up. Peace. And I have been thinking about peace lately. And here's why. And I really, this word is this, and here's how it showed up in my life this week. And I'm also going to be talking about this in my newsletter. And how cool would it be if it's a group of people who got together who really have been trying to embrace this word, got to have some time to spend together and look at art and think about the meaning for them. I have this other thing. Like the posting is about you. Then there's, and here's this thing you should know because you're reading this far.
Nice. Okay.
Most people will just post, hey, everybody, sign up for my newsletter if it's a newsletter post. But those don't work as well because there's no context, there's no desire, there's no feelings. Is that wrong? No. But the more you can just say, I'm Cindy, here's what I'm thinking about. Oh, and do this.
That's great advice, just because, I tend to agonize over posts, trying to make it perfect and to say the right thing. And so I end up postponing it and not posting. But if I make it genuine and relating to a newsletter, which is already being done and relevant,
right,
it's a good way to do it.
So I'll add one more challenge to your 3 months. Facebook, and treat it like a journal with a call to action at the end. Rather than, I have to post about my art.
That's a great idea because I've been wanting to focus more on the process of art more. I've got an artist residency coming up at Willowtail Springs Nature Preserve where I get to create art for a week. And I am so excited about focusing on the process of my art through sketching, through color studies, through thinking about what I learned with every sketch I did. And maybe I can bring that into, a question that's the name of each piece. So each piece of work is kind of invitation for other people to think about what that question means to them.
That's fun. So it's almost like you're naming them based on what you're thinking about and encouraging them to think about what it means for them as well.
Right. And that journal would be a nice part of the process.
Mm-hmm. Part of the journal is the process. Part of the journal is what you're thinking about. Part of the journal is something that happened in your life today. Part of the journal is something that happened that made you mad and why you think that people should do this other way instead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know we could have gone deeper on any one of those things that we just said, but it just felt like the right move to show you how to take that meditation and turn it into a plan.
I love that. That was a really good exercise to live your dream life and to execute a plan based upon it.
It just helps you pull out the things that you really care about.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I utilize those to market my art? So you did a great job. Thanks for doing it with me. I know it's hard to meditate on a recording, but
thank you. You made it easy.
Cindy, oh, good. I'm glad. So Cindy, tell me, where can people find if they're in the area, they can go to the Smiley Building,
right.
But how can you find you online if they're not?
They can go to cindyatchison.com, or I'm on Instagram, and my handle there is a Simiatch, CIMIATCH _design_art. And I'm also on Facebook.
If you could pick one of those places for someone to go, where do you want them to go?
I'd rather people go to my website because there's links to all my social media there.
Okay.
Cindy
And
Atchison.
also sign-ups for your newsletter?
There is a subscribe button at the top of my web page to sign up for my newsletter, which will take you to the bottom page to sign up. And I welcome everybody to sign up for the newsletter.
Great. Okay. This was fun. Did you have fun?
I did. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. Thanks for being brave. I know you're like, I don't know, is this a good idea? And then you did it, and I'm so glad you did. So thanks for being brave with me. Okay. We'll talk soon, all right?
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, did you see how that all came together? All we did was dig into what does she really want her life to look like and what's working for her and how can we connect all of the dots into a marketing plan. If you want to try this exercise for yourself, go ahead and save the video or the podcast, whichever one you're listening to, and go back to the questions that I asked Cindy. Journal your own answers and see what do you come up with. And remember, if the next thing you need to do is just get started selling art, I really want to encourage you to sign up for the Money Now Bootcamp. It's going to really change the way you think about how complicated it needs to be in order to start making art sales and know what to do when you need to make those sales. Again, link in the show notes. Talk to you next time.